There's a splintering going on here when actually, if you go down, I had somebody talk to me about first principles this week. If you go back to first principles, we're all on the same team with Bitcoin.
Course.
We're all on the same team. But if we splinter and we attack each other, what are we actually doing? Are we holding back the growth of Bitcoin? Are we holding back education? Are we confusing new people coming in? Do we look like a deranged bunch of morons who are going to dogpile in on every criticism? By the way, I know everything I'm talking about here, that I have some hypocrisies. We're all learning, but what are we doing here?
Yeah, I think the friendly fire is how I call it. The friendly fire in the Bitcoin ecosystem has reached, I think, a really bad point, to where the toxicity in Bitcoin existed for a good reason, to preserve some of Bitcoin's cultural values, which those cultural values then enforce the preservation of more important things like the 21 million hard cap and keeping the block size smaller or reducing the amount of influence companies and powerful individuals have over the protocol. So that intense, or AKA toxic community, had a purpose, back in the block size wars and for other things. That has turned to, I would say, an autoimmune issue. We're starting to attack its own body because there actually isn't that big of a threat to Bitcoin. There's no Bitcoin Cash. There is no, I would say, major threat externally. I mean, sure, you've got other protocols, but none of them compete to be a sound money as well as Bitcoin does. And so without having an attacker to fight against, the white blood cells start to attack the own body.
There's a couple of interesting points on that. And again, I agree. But I was around during the block size wars. I was new. I didn't understand it. But I'm not even sure the word toxic is right. It wasn't a toxicity. It was a firm holding of the line. The likes of John Carvalho, Adam Back, Eric Lombroso, people they held the line. They held it firm. What we have now is there's this new influx of people who probably weren't even there during the block size wars. They all seem to have a name like .hodl. They call themselves the plebs. Sorry. And as a group, they've almost become like the nanny state. It's outside of Bitcoin. They say we're here to defend Bitcoin, but it's I actually don't care about shitcoins. I cared about Bitcoin Cash, and I would care about that's a direct attack on Bitcoin. All right, shitcoin. I don't even care. Actually, I want to be friends with them because I want them coming into Bitcoin, right?
Totally.
But now it's every opinion you hold, they're coming at you if it's not the right opinion. And there's a really important point on this. Based on the applications for people who want to be guests on the show, or the people I'm talking to, or the people who email me, there's been an influx of moderates and lefties coming into Bitcoin. And there are solid arguments for why people on the left should care about Bitcoin.
Totally. And I think that Bitcoin's original core values are very libertarian, and they're somewhat inherent because it's about freedom to transact with whomever you want. So whether you be left or right, Bitcoin is a very libertarian foundational ideology. It's very permissive, which libertarian ideology is the only most permissive ideology out there. Let you do what you want with your body and with your money. Now, when it comes to the left and the right, I certainly think that, we have seen more left and moderates start to come into Bitcoin, which is encouraging. Bitcoin is for everyone, so that's fantastic.
It means we're winning.
It means we're winning. And also, I think a lot of the Bitcoiners that are more right-leaning, what they don't realize is that this may change how they think. Once they see Bitcoin's permissionless structure, they have to somewhat become libertarian-esque. And same with the conservatives. If the conservatives have certain values that want to restrict people's body or money, well, cool, Bitcoin doesn't care about that. And I think that's what's kind of cool is Bitcoin's a forcing function on both sides to make them bend a little bit more towards what I would call classic liberal values. Liberty, if you will, right? I mean, that's what libertarian ideology is really based on. So I think Bitcoin is a forcing function to force both sides kind of into its gravitas of freedom and sort of that ethos. Now, I think with kind of what recently has happened is there's kind of a weird subset of Bitcoiners who really lean in on a very, very conservative sort of style of Bitcoin. One that leans into very conservative values. That's totally cool. If you want to have that as your narrative and that's what Bitcoin means to you, awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's wrong or right, but you shouldn't also say that that's what everyone's values should be when they use Bitcoin. It's funny too, because like I was there 10 years ago. I don't remember almost any of these people that are the more right side. Almost none of them were there. And Bitcoin was, pretty libertarian. I mean, this was like Bitcoin back in that era was like, cool, man. Like, you want to go buy drugs in Silk Road? That was the mindset, like super, super liberal. Burning Man meets buying drugs in Silk Road meets I've got a AR-15, stay off my property, And so to see it kind of like them start to lean in with different conservative values is very interesting. And then to claim that that has always been Bitcoin's culture, I think is pretty incorrect. I mean, Bitcoin's culture has always been very libertarian.
Yeah, and look, I guess some of it, Dan. I mean, the last 2-3 years it's not been a great time for the state. They've not had a great run this last 2 or 3 years. For me, that doesn't mean burn everything down and start again. It just doesn't. There are things that need fixing. There are things that are clearly wrong. But that's not where I am. But I would recommend anyone struggling with this, go and read The Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt. There is a reason some people lean conservative, and there's a reason some people lean liberal. Some of it's nature, some of it's nurture. But you are not going to convert somebody into your way of thinking by shouting at them or cancelling them. This whole idea that there's like this world of left wokeism seems to miss. There is some right wokeism going on. There's like anti-woke, and cancel culture exists on the right.
Totally.
Absolutely.
What's really bizarre about, I think, some of the pleb culture, which I respect a lot of it.
Yeah.
Don't trust authority figures. Trust, Bitcoin and the Bitcoin network. Those are awesome principles. I think some of the ones I don't agree with are these cancellation sort of like this cancellation mindset of a purity test. What is the most pure version of being a Bitcoiner possible? And so they come up with there's some of, and this doesn't represent all of them, right? I mean, I'm certain, like, who knows which percentage believes in what or whatnot. But, here's like good examples. One is, remember, we both have lent out our Bitcoin, like on BlockFi or Celsius or Nexo or Let In. It's my Bitcoin. I can do whatever the hell I want with it.
Yeah.
So why would you care if I do that or not? I mean, it's such a bizarre mindset. Or to think that the Bitcoin standard would come into existence and lending would never exist again.
It's also there's these like certain people who are completely crazy who will make things up, like actually make things up.
Oh yeah.
I've had the spook accusation, which has gone on.
That's a popular one now.
Yeah, you're a spook. Okay, why? Well, you must be. Well, why? Come and audit me. Follow me around for a year. See if I'm a spook. Like, but also it's ludicrous even having to prove it. It's like, it's just fucking ludicrous. And then what are the other ones?
Like the status cuck.
Status cuck, yeah. Well, that's language which tries to coerce you away from holding opinions, and it works. Self-censorship is censorship, and I know it works because the emails I get from people saying, don't want to talk about this on Twitter, but I've got these questions, or can you cover these subjects? Because they know they're going to get yelled at. What are the other ones? Oh, you're
shitcoin apologist.
Yeah, shitcoin apologist. You're paid by Pfizer. I was like, do you know how much they're paying people? It's $1,500. Like, come on, let's get in the real world. Like, it's just lying, canceling, coercing, and abusing. But the look from the outside is terrible.
Agreed. I think that I understand where they come from, by the way, of you see false information. Say an altcoiner comes in and says, Bitcoin's too slow. A classic one, right? Too slow or too expensive. And so immediately after answering this question for the last 10 years, your blood starts to boil a little bit because you're like, I've answered this 1,000 times. And so some of them resort to the more like shouting, angry style. But I find, and I've pushed back on this a lot, as you have, that's not that effective. I mean, Bitcoin's dominance percentage has never been lower. So if it had been effective, then Bitcoin would have like a 99% dominance. A more effective way, so like that's like a quantitative way to qualify, to like look at this. Qualitatively, you don't go to, and they go, well, Bitcoin's so useful that I don't have to be nice because people should just get it. And I'm like, I don't think that happened to you the first time you got it. Or they shit on people because they speculate or they day trade it. No one's perfect. I did too when I first started. That's right. Dan Held wasn't a perfect hodler from the beginning. No one is. We all learned through pain and trial and error. But also from the people that were kind to us and explained things to us. And, I didn't really have many people there to explain things in a simplistic manner. Hence why I care about doing that. The positivity outweighs negativity almost every time. And when we look at like a scenario where, let's say someone made a lot of money on Doge. My narrative now, instead of being like, repent, sell your Dogecoin, which is what these people try to push, sort of the fire and brimstone version of Bitcoin. I tell them, I'm like, cool. We're all guilty of trading. Most 99% of us are probably guilty of trading alts at one point or day trading. And congratulations on making a bunch of money in Dogecoin. But you know what? I'm an old timer. You probably want to roll out those gains into Bitcoin. And that is, I think, going to reach more people than like, repent, you're a terrible person. Because they're not a bad person. They just didn't know. They might have just been trading it for fun, right? It's like
well, they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't care about the mission of crypto or Bitcoin or whatever. They just care about the mission of like making money. And so they come for the speculation, and to make them stay for the sound money, we need to explain it to them rather than make them feel bad.